Hey folks, welcome back to Fishing with Capt and Sharky. This week we're in the Florida Keys and we got a great show for you, so stay tuned. Hey folks, here we are out on the coral reefs off of the Florida Keys, and I'd say we're about 6 miles off the beach. We're out on a reef and I'm using a gulp bait here on a fluorocarbon 20-pound test line. Just beef things up a little bit more, but I've got a gulp bait on there. We've been catching snappers and large silver grunts, and we're going to see what we can do right now. So folks, stay tuned. Let's see what we can get, all right? Let's get in the water here and see what we do. And oh, there's a fish right there. There we go. There's a nice snapper. Look at there. There we go. There's a nice little snapper right there. These little snappers are quite frequently on this reef, and they're just little snappers, but I'll tell you what, it's a ball. You get out there, you anchor up, and you throw those artificial baits, and you have a great time. Yeah, there's another one right here, folks. This is great. This one's a little bit beefier, I think. Just snappers on the reef. That's all it is. Just snappers on the reef. Beautiful job catching snappers on the reef. Yes, sir, folks. Great snappers, all on artificial bait. Having a great time. That is all snappers right there, people. Look at the snappers below. That's a good one. Good snapper. Here he comes, here he comes. Big gray snapper there. Look at the size of that one. Holy cow. That's some good eating there now. See, folks, just a little bit of patience. Now, I went to a clear fluorocarbon line, and I didn't use any weights at all. Now that we've chummed, and we've got the bait and the fish behind the boat, we're dropping back the hook. You see, I've got no weights on here at all, and I'm free lining these fish. That's a nice mutton snapper. There's a nice mutton snapper right there, folks. Yes, sir. You got one? Is it? Oh, that's a good one. Bring it over the boat. Bring it over the boat. Good job.
Wow.
Hey, how do you feel about that one?
Pretty cool.
Yeah?
Good.
That's a good fish.
Yeah, wait, stop it.
And snapper fishing in the Florida Keys. Hey folks, there's a few things I wanted to go over with you in regards to the fishing that we did this week. It can also be done as well. We did it in the Keys this week, but this time you can carry it on up here into the Northeast and it works just as well. A few things I want to give you tips on is you just want to break down to a smaller tackle. So here we're using a lighter 250 reel and a 7-foot super light action rod. That's an important object, especially if you're going after the little snappers or you're trying to fish with the kids, or maybe you want to work reef fish. The other thing is, when you're going after snapper, is you want to downsize your hooks. And what I recommend is a size 4. You could go a 5, but a size 4 is a good shot. Real short shanked, hides the bait. Because let me tell you about snappers, they're very finicky fish. They can see the line and you're done. They don't bite. So I recommend that you go down to a lighter tackle. Now if you can see this against my shirt right there, there's actually 2 sizes. This is a normal size like line that we might use up here, where when the fish stop biting, we switched over to a lighter line. You see that in my hand or against my shirt right there. But this super light line enabled us to catch the fish, and the size just started getting bigger and bigger because they were unable to see the line. The other thing is, when we were on the bottom, we were using what they call a slip rig, and that's that little weight you see in the bait stores a lot with the holes on both ends. That'll slide back and forth on your rig. So once it's on the bottom, the bait will carry in the current away from the weight, kind of float around just off the bottom. The other thing that's very important I want to share with you is when you go to a new spot or you travel out of your local area and you're unfamiliar waters, make sure and stop and get yourself a chart. These charts right here can be found just about any bait store, but let me tell you, they'll save you thousands of dollars in lower units and the damages done to your boats, much less losing lures on rocks and stuff. But the maps are very easy to read. The charts, excuse me. Maps are for land, charts are for sea. But this chart right here, you can even see it shows the rocks and areas. So if you're snapper fishing, you want to find some kind of a structure on the bottom, and then you want to chum them fish up. And you can pick your own chum, what you want to use. There's all kinds of things. But I like to use a mesh bag and chopped up fish, mullet, sardines, whatever I have. But sardines work real good, and some oats. And drop it in there, let it hang off the back of the boat. And it'll drift back down there, and those snappers will come up behind the boat. And that's what we did in the Keys. And you can do that also right here in Northeast Florida. So don't be afraid to get out there and do a little fishing. But just remember, if they're in season, you can keep them. If they're not in season, you can't keep them. So make sure and follow the rules from the FWC and have some fun. Now, this is Capt and Sharky. Until next week, stay tuned. Tight lines.